But I actually genuinely mean it. Like, you don't actually have to do this. And we all hear really deep things all the time, and I don't take it for granted. Like, I think it's a really beautiful thing, if I'm being honest. We do need the community.
Am I allowed to have emotions like this?
Family.
How am I going to be viewed? The blackness. We're quicker to show anger than to show sadness.
I just don't think love by itself, for a romantic relationship and a life partner, someone you're doing life with and all they bring you is love.
That's also a good point. We don't know.
I was going to say good evening, but this isn't live, so hi everybody, welcome to the Listener's Couch where psychology meets culture. I'm one of your hosts, Dr. Sheryl.
I am Dr. Shadiq, and we haven't got Dr. Amani because she's away. She's at a festival living life.
All points east. If you see her, say hi.
However, we've got a very, very special guest today. So we have Godfrey Poku.
Poku, yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But let me just give you a bit of an intro, okay?
Go on.
So Godfrey is an advanced lived experienced educator, all right? So Godfrey did spend some time in Her Majesty's institution, where he's now doing some great work, and he's found a drive to change himself for the better. Now a member of the Health and Justice Learning Hub, he travels to help support people in prisons with learning and opportunities he wasn't necessarily given himself. Yeah. Let's big up Godfrey.
Woo!
Thank you.
Godfrey, thank you for coming.
No, I appreciate the invite, 100%. Appreciate it.
For you guys that don't know, I actually met Godfrey a few years ago now, isn't it?
I think it was 2 years ago.
2 years ago, whilst I was training.
Yeah.
So I actually had a placement and I met Godfrey there, and he is doing some amazing work that we're going to kind of get into. But Godfrey, give us a bit of a flavour. Like, how did you get to where you are?
Oh, so I think going to prison. I went to prison, and during my journey in prison, I started realising the system is it's broken. I remember my first night in Pentonville, seeing cockroaches running around. I was thinking, nah, this isn't for me. And it's not that it's just not for me. I don't think it's for anyone. I think this place needs a whole revamp. And one of the biggest things is, especially when it comes to like rehabilitation, I realised it doesn't really exist in the prison system. The whole reason why people are in prison is to rehabilitate, but that doesn't happen.
Is that what you mean when you say that the prison system's broken?
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't actually do what it's supposed to do.
It's not doing what it's supposed to be doing. So I feel like you just end up just being locked up and just, that's it. Days are just wasting away. That's what happens in prison. So during that course, I realised that, look, I want to do something to make a difference, not just complain about it. I want to work with the system to create change. And that's one of the things that I was doing while in prison, mentoring young adults. And I think during that time, I remember having one of my friends saying to me, like, the system's got you. Like, why do you care so much? Like, those sort of things. And I was like, cool, I care because I know that there's more out there. And especially when you're seeing people that are like 16, 17, 18, and they're getting like 20-year sentences. They're getting like 30 something, like someone that was like a couple doors away from me got like 32 years.
Wow.
Like, that's just mad to even think about. Someone who's got 32 years. So like, it's just mental. So I want to prevent that from happening to everyone, especially if you're in the system, end up in prison. What can you do to help better yourself? That's so important to me.
How old were you when you went into the system? Was it in and out?
No,
was it gradual?
So I went to prison once, one and done. I went to prison at 24, like around 24. Yeah, 24 came. I done like two and a half years. Came out just before my 27th birthday or something like that. Yeah, and so just one, and that one time prison made me realize, I can't do this. Especially I was in during COVID.
Yeah.
That was the worst. Being in prison during COVID was horrible. No visits. There was a time where staff wasn't even coming into the kitchens to cook, so we was eating camping food. Like, it was like
Sorry,
literally it was food in a packet. You boil your kettle, pour it in, and somehow it turned
for the
into
whole
lasagna
period
for like 3-4 months. Yeah, for like 3-4 months, that's what we was eating, and that was mental. All those things is what made me realize that I could never come back here. Like, having a child, because for me, like within the first week of going to prison,
Mm-hmm.
it's when I found out that my partner was pregnant.
Okay.
The first week. Because, you know, like when I first entered prison, I was thinking, okay, is this it? Like, like prison isn't, but it wasn't being in prison. It was your outside world. It's what really, really is the big challenge, navigating all of that. So finding out my partner's pregnant, now that's when everything hit me. Like, yeah, something's got to give.
And that's the thing, because some people might see your story as quite unique, but we don't want that to be unique. We want it to be a story that people can, other people can experience,
100%,
right?
yeah.
What helped you get through those times?
During prison, I think it's knowing that, because I was on remand for a long time. So I was on remand for 18 months. So being on remand is when it's the most difficult, because you actually don't know how long you're going to be in prison for.
And what's remand, just for people that might not know?
Yeah, so being on remand is that, so you've had your plea, so either guilty or not guilty. But so I went guilty, and then now you got to wait to be sentenced. So during that time, until you get sentenced, you're in prison, in custody. But so I was in remand in custody for 18 months before I got sentenced. So during that whole 18 months, I did not know how long I was going to get sentenced for.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so you don't know. When you're on remand, you don't know. And then when you're on remand as well, you can't do a lot of things because you're a remand prisoner. So you can't do like open university, you can't do certain courses because they see it as, what if you get released?
Yeah.
So it might be a waste of funding, etc. So yeah, that was...
Wow.
Can you speak to how that was impacting you emotionally, psychologically? What's going through your mind just during that period, that 18-month period specifically?
A lot, because especially when you're speaking to solicitors, they're telling you, okay, you're looking at this much. My solicitor said something mad. He said, oh, you're looking at like 10 years. That's what he said to me. But with me, my mindset's a bit different. So I'm like I just don't take no one in really unless I feel like, so I didn't take him in. And there was a point where he was telling me like, fight the case. And I was thinking to myself, should I fight the case? Because for my case, I wasn't really involved in that world. But with conspiracy, so I went to prison for conspiracy to supply Class A, but conspiracy works on probability. That's what so it's like, what's the likelihood of you calling this person and then something taking place and you wasn't involved or you had no knowledge? Like when they put that to a jury, how would that look? How would it sound? Is it believable? And that's where I had to make that decision. Okay, so they're saying all these people I'm around are doing crime, but I call these people. So now if they go in front of a jury and they say all these things, and then they believe I'm lying, whether I am or not, and they believe I'm lying, then you get the harsher sentence. You don't get the percentage off. So you're stuck in a catch-22. You got to decide whether, okay, because if you get found guilty at court, you lose all your percentage off, and then you end up with the full punishment basically. So yeah, what was the question again? Sorry.
I asked about what was going through your mind during that time, the emotional impact.
Okay, yeah, no, it was a lot.
Impact.
I think it was a lot for me because especially finding out my partner was pregnant, then not knowing how long I'm gonna have, and then losing one of my best friends while I was in prison, and then COVID hit. It was an emotional turmoil. I was all over the place emotionally, but then for me it was like a drive to make sure I never come back here again. Number one, make sure that I don't want like young people to go through the same sort of struggle that I've been through. All of that sort of stuff was like, so for me, like prison was a blessing and a curse because it was a hard place to be, but at the same time, it actually gave me drive and purpose for all the things that I do now. It's like if I didn't go there, I could have been worse off and could have got a longer sentence further down the line. So I think prison did kind of save me. Because I remember one time after like my friend got murdered, I remember speaking to my mum one time and she said to me, right now I'm actually happier in prison. And it sounds crazy, it sounds mad, but you got to put in perspective of, for example, certain lifestyles. There's rules, especially if you lose someone, there's stuff is meant to happen. All these sort of pressures of the roles is what. So she was actually happy I was in prison. I didn't understand it at the time, but like further down the line, you start realizing, getting it. Okay, this is what she means.
Yeah.
At the time when she said it, you
Yeah.
didn't quite understand.
Yeah.
What were you feeling towards your mom?
I was thinking, what are you talking about? I was like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? But she didn't even explain it much, but I didn't get it. Because I was thinking, but I'm missing out on my daughter's life. But imagine being outside in that time, all the extra pressures, especially while I've got my daughter. We don't know how that might have translated, especially being there physically, having the free will, basically. When you're in prison, you ain't got that free will to just go down the road or just do what you want. You're locked up. But being outside and having that free will, who knows what could have happened at that time.
The thing is, you even mentioned just kind of listening to you, like loss of your friend, and then losing time, right, with your child. I'm just thinking because Dr. Amani and Dr. Sheryl spoke quite a few episodes ago, and they mentioned therapy versus therapeutic.
Yep.
And I'm just wondering, within the system, do people kind of have access to therapy, or is it more kind of therapeutic things, which is like the guys getting together, I don't know, going to the gym? What does it look like there to kind of cope and manage?
What's healing? What's, keeping you...
It's definitely more therapeutic. As we know, like, men in them sort of establishments, it's all ego. It's all, no one wants to be vulnerable. No one wants to talk about their feelings or how they're really feeling. So luckily for me, there was a little forum called Time for Change that I was part of, and that allowed men to talk about things. So we're speaking about things like fatherhood, gang culture, knife crime, talking like that was kind of our little moment to have our little therapy, but it was like group therapy. We're all talking, a lot of men together. I think that helped a lot because it did change the perspective on like having a counsellor or just talking to someone about how you're feeling today. That and those little things make a difference because it's all about how you channel your emotions, and a lot of people don't know how to regulate emotions as well. But just talking through it can be that little difference, because then we hold it in until we fizz up, and it shows in different ways on how you're feeling. Mainly therapeutic, but for me there was a bit of therapy, but I know that it's not common. It's not common, especially when there's a long list of people that want therapy. There's a long list of people and the stigma behind it as well. You're seeing, okay, what's wrong? Why do you need therapy? It's like, if you go around talking about your emotions all day, like, this person's jarring. Because I remember one time I had a cellmate. He got like 2 months in prison or something very light, and every day all he did is complain about his sentence. Like, for me, I found that so annoying, because you're complaining about a sentence. You got like 2 months and you're complaining every single day about the sentence. But I don't know if that was me being selfish, but at the same time I'm thinking that he's probably needed that as an outlet to talk about how he's feeling about prison. But for me, he was doing too much. Like, so eventually the point where he's got to go. He's got to leave the cell, because there's people that have got bigger sentences. For you to be complaining about 2 months, but he came to prison by himself, so his 2 months is 20 years to him. You know what I'm saying? And that was his first time in prison. So it is a lot.
Because that's what I was thinking, especially because obviously we work together and we've gone in and we've done things with staff. What are you doing currently? Because you mentioned Time for Change, which is something you got access to, right? And before I ask my question, was that like a weekly or monthly kind of input? What was that?
So Time for Change was weekly. It was every single week, and it was going on. The governor allowed it to happen during COVID. So that made it even more impactful, because a lot of men were going through things during COVID, no visits, etc. So every week, group of like 15 men, 18 to 25-year-olds. That was the target. All in a big room together, circle, so round table. And everyone just talking. It was great. And I was one of the mentors, so we had other mentors. And the most unique thing about Time for Change was the fact that, because inner London prisons are split into wings, mostly wings, spurs, and it's mostly separated by gangs. So, but they ran Time for Change on different wings, and the whole aim of it was, so at the end, when you finish your 12-week course, you get your certificate. But at that ceremony, all the wings come together. And luckily, there was never no beef or never no fights or anything like that. And the main incentive behind that was, you was allowed to bring a family member. So everyone was bringing like their mums, their kids, their aunties, their uncles, like bring brothers, like they had their family with them in this ceremony. And nothing ever happened. Whether they got a problem with that person, nothing ever happened. And it goes to show that when the CM set up, he was thinking, okay, now it goes to show if you see each other again, whether by free flow or education or anything like that, nothing has to happen because you've seen each other and nothing happened. So you can go through that and see each other again and nothing has to happen. And that was amazing. That was really good and impactful within the prison. But it's a shame they got rid of it.
How comes?
They got rid of it. And I think it's one of those things where it's a difficult one because I think the target was young black men. So then what about, so I guess the prison probably thinking, what about the rest of them? Okay, we got these young black men doing this. Now, what about the rest of the prison?
So it was Time for Change, specifically young black men were subscribing to it, or was it targeted to, how was that happening?
It was a bit of both. I guess when we talk about like gang culture in London, the majority are young black boys, I guess. So the CM at the time, I think his main target was his young black men, but there was white people in it as well. But
sorry, what's the CM?
a custodial manager.
Okay.
So yeah. So he's like, he runs a certain department. So he's in charge of certain departments. So so most black people were subscribing to it, but there was a few other ethnicities in there, but the majority was black. So they got rid of it. And when they had like an Ofsted, but they had like one in the prison recently, and that one got they bigged up Time for Change and said it's amazing. They said it's really good. It's such a shame that it's gone because other men in the prison ain't gonna get that same opportunity that I had. That made a difference to where I am now as well, my whole mindset and everything. But yeah,
What do you think it was about that group? Because I was also wondering, what was the reception knowing that, for example, these group of people are going to go and speak about emotions in a sense? First, how was it for you? Like, what was the ingredient that changed?
The reality is, in prison, you just want to do anything to get out of yourself. That's the first thing. So when you go initially and you're talking about your emotions, but then everybody's in the room and then everybody starts talking, and then it's like builds a culture of, okay, so if he can do it, he can do it. We know what he's like. He's someone that's not to play with or something like that, but he can talk about his emotions. It brings a culture back onto the wing because then people carry on that culture, still talking about issues, trying to prevent things from happening on the wings. Like, because especially if you represent Time for Change, you don't want to let down that particular CM like by getting involved in certain things. So you think twice before doing something, or even if you see something about to happen, you think, okay, how can I prevent this from escalating and happening? So it created a culture of positivity, basically, changed mindsets. It was, definitely for me. And the ingredient in it was just everyone being open and honest and understanding that this is a safe place. You know, like having a safe place in such a, especially when you got mistrust with the system. We're in their establishment, but we've got a safe place in here, a place where we can all talk and be honest and open with each other and learn from each other. That was my special. That was the ingredient there for me.
You mentioned people already came in with their ideas about what men think about their emotions and ideas about what masculinity looks like. And you made your own norms about what emotions means, how you express it, how you express yourself, how you de-escalate situations, how you communicate with each other. You reform that and you reshape that amongst yourselves. Probably something you probably wouldn't have done if you guys weren't there at all.
100%. And literally, prison saves people. Like, it is the reality. Prison can save someone, change them. It can be that little place where you need a break. Some men need a break. You go in prison, you see that there's big men that are like 40. They probably haven't had a childhood. So you might see them running around like kids on the wings. And it's one of the things you start seeing, you start thinking, right, like, he's actually feeling free right now. Even though he's in prison, he's feeling free. He don't have to be watching his back maybe on the roads. He don't have to be putting on a certain persona 24/7, because at the end of the day, these are the people you live with. So they're going to see your true colours anyway. So it can be a place of like, what's the word for it? It's a reset. It can be a reset, like a little stop. Okay, now let me think. Let me reevaluate. Let me evaluate what I want to do when I come out. You will notice that a lot of people when they come out, they got like books and books and papers of loads of plans, or even films they want to watch. You know, like songs they've listened to. They come out with, people write books. Like it's that place where you've got nothing but time on your hands.
Yeah.
And some people do find the positive things to do with that time, to fill that time. Some people ain't probably, when they're outside, they don't read books. In prison, they probably read books, learn things. So it's definitely can be a blessing for some people. 100%. Does that sound mad?
No, it doesn't at all.
Not that we're advocating for people to go to prison, but actually it's what's happening within that space. Like, that can happen within the community, right? When men come to get, particularly black men, we always talk about men's mental health, and there's stigma around how you express your emotions and what that means. And if that challenges masculinity and what we think about masculinity, that's something that you guys challenged and you thought about when you were in that space. That can be done within the community as well. I think it is done within the community, particularly within South London. There are lots of men groups targeted towards black men that offer that space. It's just less accessible, whereas when you're in prison, it's not about access because you're there. So you got to do what you got to do to get through that.
And I'm just wondering then how you then made the transition to kind of what you're doing now. Give me the steps from there to now.
So when I came out in 2021, honestly, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know. I was thinking, okay, I've said I want to like be a part of the system, but how do I get in it? And luckily for me at the time, there was a landing officer. He was one of my landing officers, but he changed jobs and he started working for an organisation called Stand Out. And they help with employment, they help with CVs and all that stuff. And he must have got my contact details through the prison. So he's contacted me and he's like, okay, there's a job opportunity, training prison officers. Are you down? Like, would you apply? And for me, it was at the time I was thinking, this is a made up job. Like, how could I train prison officers? I ignored him, I brushed him, and he kept calling me, persistent. And then he sent me the job description, he sent me the application, I applied, and then I got the job. And then the following year, I ended up in Leeds. So that's where they do it. It's like a master. It's called Unlock Grads. So it's like a master's for people who go uni. They do their masters, but they work in the prison for 2 years. So I started training prison officers. Ultimately,
Godfrey's national, you know.
Started training prison officers from all over, and not just training them, also giving that real life perspective of someone that lives there. And I think that's what made it really unique, because it wasn't something that you can just find out in a textbook. This was someone telling you that, okay, so I've been through it. If I was in your shoes as an officer, this is how I'll handle this situation. Because you got to think about the human behind the prison number. It's not just the prison number, but the human. And that's what made a difference. Like, we used to do a thing called Candid Chat, where they can ask us questions. Like, the officers, before they start the career, they can ask us questions, like any question they want about prison. And that was one of the biggest highlights for all of them. They said that that's one of the things that prepared them for prison more than anything, more than any other type of training, because it's actually asking people that have lived there, sort of thing. And then from there, the following year, I went, that same custodial manager hit me up and said, look, I want you to come to a primary school with me and come do a talk. So I went with him to this primary school. At first, I didn't really want to go because I'm thinking primary school, like, what am I really going to talk about? But the aim was to target, anti-grooming and like gangs. And then when I went in there, the questions that these young kids were asking were mental. And then the head teacher was like, look, do you want a job here? Like, when we finished it, and I was like, I thought she was joking as well, because I thought she was just saying it, like, oh, you done well, like, do you want a job here? Like, just saying it. So I brushed her as well, and then she
go for your brushing people. It's crazy.
She's emailing that to CM like, look, I'm serious. Like, there's a job opportunity for him. And I've got a criminal record. So I'm thinking, how is that going to work? Criminal record and working in a school. And she jumped through hurdles and hoops to make it happen. And it happened. And I ended up working in a primary school as a learning mentor. And that was supporting children with behaviour and emotional needs, doing one-to-ones, supporting families, all of that. And that was one of the most fulfilling jobs that I can't lie that. It was fulfilling because I'm actually helping, preventing people from going down certain roads, seeing them before they get to that point, noticing things that teachers who may not have the time to notice are noticing. So I'm noticing things before they're even happening.
Cool.
And that, being in that, and then it made me realise that anything can happen. Anything, you could do anything you really want to do. I got a criminal record and I work in a primary school. So then I started pushing that narrative towards people like, look, whether you got a criminal record or not, just do whatever you want to do. You can do it. And then from there, someone else I was working with in prison, they told me about a job with the NHS. They told me about a job with the NHS and it's working around deaths in custody. And I was thinking, nah, this is like a bizarre job. Like, but I applied anyway. I applied. And I remember going to the interview and I left. And then, you know, like the supervisor, she phoned me straight away after I left. I didn't answer the call because I was thinking, why are you phoning me so quick? Is it bad news? Like, you phoned me too quick. So I didn't answer. Then she called me the next day. Then I answered and she's like, okay, look, you've got the job. And I was thinking, wow, like, got the job. But I didn't really understand, okay, so deaths in custody, like, didn't really understand the job. I didn't get it. But then I went in to do my induction. And obviously we've worked together, so you know our induction could be the next day you're in prison. Like, straight away. Like,
He's not joking.
Like, straight away.
He's not joking. The induction is the prison.
So the next day you're straight in. Like, so the induction, then I remember her even telling me, look, okay, so we're starting you at band 6. And she looked at me as if I should be happy, but I didn't even know what that meant. What's that, band 6? She looked at me, I looked away. That sort of things, like one of them awkward ones. But then, started on a band 6. Then it's later on realising that, okay, that's actually a high band within the NHS. And from there, now I'm in all the prisons, doing a lot of talks, educating healthcare staff, prison staff, doing a lot, basically, to help shape the prison, change the culture in prisons. That's one of our biggest things in what we do, especially around like deaths in custody, how can it be prevented, self-harms. And this is something that's common in prison. And there's a whole like culture around self-harm in prison. It becomes the norm when it's not normal. Like, people cutting themselves, it happens so regularly in prison. It happens a lot. And it creates a culture where now staff have become a bit more desensitized to it.
Why do you think it's so common in prison?
I think... Sorry,
before you answer that.
Yeah.
Could move... I'm not sure if it's picking you up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Closer like this?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, go for
that
it.
just feels a bit weird, doesn't it?
It does. It's right in your face.
But yeah, no, I think it's common because I think that's the way that people find your voice will be heard. If you do this, now they have to listen. They have to listen to you because there's a scene, nobody wants, like, staff are going to be thinking, okay, so he's cut himself, I'm on shift. If something happens to this individual, it could affect me.
So then, as you said, because people from the outside be looking in and thinking, hold on, for someone to be listened to, they have to do something like that. What's going on that are not being listened to in the first place, would you say?
I think in the prisons, there's a lot of things. It comes to regime, because regime is above, and regime is basically the daily plan, the daily schedule, but regime is above human lives. That's what I found. So regime comes first. So staff need to make sure everything runs on time. So you crying for help, it's when I got time, when the staff members got time, staffs are overstretched, and there's not the retention rate with staff it's not there no more. People don't want to be prison officers as much no more. So having that minute just to talk to someone, or just to where someone might need something, that time isn't there no more. So I think that's one of the reasons where people are crying out for help, because the reality is my need, like, as an individual, my need is the most important thing right now to me. But to the landing officer, his making sure he sticks to the regime is most important to him, and that's where that clash is, and that's where people end up, crying for help by any means necessary.
It sounds like it's a form of communication, right?
Yeah.
Which is what we see at work when we work every day. Whatever someone's trying to communicate, it's a way of expression, communication. It might not be the most helpful way, or we'd call it maladaptive, which means it's harmful in the long term, but it meets a certain need. It's how people are having their needs met. It's not being met by the system. They got to meet their needs themselves by any means necessary.
100%. I definitely understand that. In prison, it's hard. It's very hard, because especially when you're in a cell. Okay, once your door's shut, the only way to communicate now is you've got to press that bell. Now you press that bell. If it's something that's not deemed important or life-threatening, now that can go against you, because you can get a negative, you can get a nick in just for pressing that bell. But that's the only way to communicate.
What's a negative?
So a negative, so I think it's 3 negatives, and then you end up on basic.
Jeez.
So when you're on basic, that's no TV. That's like your spends go down, how much you can spend a week. So basically you're punished for 3 negatives. But that's the only way to communicate to officers. And now officers have also become super, when it comes to that bell as well, that bell is like, okay, people press it for toilet roll. Now you might get, reality is toilet roll is important. If you need it, you need it. It's an emergency, but it's subjective, isn't it? It's subjectively an emergency. But some prisons ain't really too strict on it, but some prisons are. So now if you press that bell when they come to your cell and they see blood or something, that's an emergency. Now they've got to call a code. So it is hard once you're banged. Because I remember like working for this healthcare now, going back into prison and talking to someone that does self-harms, and he said to me, I love the idea that someone is going to come and check up on me. He said that to me. And then I was taken back by that, because he openly said, I do that because I love the idea of it. I know that I end up on an act. Now that's when they do hourly checkups on you. And he said he loved the idea of that. That made him probably feel like, okay, someone cares. But in order to get on that act, what he had to do before that is what the mad part is. Not mad part, but my psychologist friends help me word that.
So we were called like so as Dr. Sheryl said, is some people call it maladaptive behaviours, but actually we have a repertoire of behaviours, and we all keep on, for example, changing until we get to a point that there's one that's successful. So this person is actually coping the best way they can, which is to harm themselves in order to get their needs met.
100%.
You know, it's just a strategy.
In addition to that, the behaviour is being reinforced. His needs are being met.
100%.
If I do this, then I will get this. It's very basic human psychology. So if the need is being met by that behaviour, it's gonna continue, which is that's really unfortunate. But if that's how he feels that he's gonna get the attention that he needs, then that's what he's gonna do.
And that's what our whole thing that we're trying to educate staff on is like compassion and curiosity. And you do that by just talking to them, treating people like a human, speaking to the men in your establishment or the women in your establishment like humans, having that "are you okay" conversation, and not just taking their first answer for gospel, but actually asking more questions to actually, okay, so if you're okay, what's going on? What's making you happy today? You know, like trying to understand the individual. That's one of the things we're fully trying to spread, and it's not easy. Because as we know, like we've got healthcare staff, and healthcare staff they're a bit more compassionate, they're a bit more, because they're in the healthcare world, isn't it? But then they got prison officers that are more safety driven, more punishment driven, more like on that side. So it's like that's where the clash and the divide is. And prison is for prisoners, and prison officers is basically run the prison, and then healthcare comes secondary. That's how you find it in how it is while you're in prison. So you can even find situations where like staff need to speak to an individual that's in prison, and prison officers might stop them like, look, okay, you're messing up my numbers or something like that. So numbers is, they do it three times a day, where they count how many people are in the prison on the land and making sure everyone's where they should be. So if now healthcare come up and say, I need to speak to this individual, unless the door is locked and the person's in the cell, they can't count that as a number, basically. So but that's the priority. When I say regime,
Systems.
when I say regime comes first, it's man.
And there's our curiosity now you've made that transition.
Yeah.
You as a black man now going back in these institutions and helping people, both staff, prison officers, and even seeing, for example, residents sometimes. What's it like for you?
Oh, you know what? At first, because you go back in there, you know, you come into prison, so you know that's got that smell. Prison's got that smell. It's got that the look. The lights are just darker. Everything's it's just different in there. It's like its own. I always describe prison as its own little island, like it's its own little world, because you can be like HMP Brixton's on a high road, but once you're in there, you feel like you're in some abandoned island somewhere. You don't, and as soon as you come out, you realize, oh, there's cars, there's buses, there's shops. But when you're in there, so for me, I did struggle with that at the start. But then what gave me that made me feel okay is I know that the mission, what I've got in my mind, is more important than anything. So then now it's normal now. I just go in there, I do what I need to do because I know it's for the greater mission, a great cause. So yeah, it's calm now. But then I know that, especially when I talk to the men in prison, they're a bit more relatable with me. So they open up a lot more. Like from that, I remember, so recently we done a short film for men in prison, and it's on CPR, recovery position, and covering of wounds, And that all come from having a conversation with men in prison. And what they were saying was they've seen near misses. They've seen too many near misses, and they wish that they could do something to help. So we created this film in order to cater for that. So now this is going to teach you how to do CPR, recovery position. We also commissioned for an organisation called Your Stance to go into prison and actually train the men 20 men at a time, how to do these things. And literally that was on the back of a conversation. So having them open discussions, because I understand certain things, and so they can relate more. And then they know that they're not just going to say something to me and I'm just going to walk out of it and it's nothing. We're going to have this conversation, you're going to speak to me, I'm going to see what I can do to cater for that. And yeah.
What's it been like transitioning from being told that you need to stay here, you need to do this this sentence, and having almost no agency, so now having all this agency and doing something fulfilling that you actually want to do? And on top of that, asking two questions, I'm sorry.
That's cool.
The power that comes with that, because at one point there is no, again, power related to agency, but like now you're in sort of position of power. You're able to actually teach, share knowledge. You know, your band's 6. Congratulations, about to go to a band 6. Do you know what I mean? There's a massive, like, almost, you flip. I don't know what I'm trying to say. The juxtaposition of your own position.
And you can leave. When you're done.
It's completely different.
It is, and especially when you go back and you see officers you know that were there when you were there. I think that's the most like impact there, because then they see that full rehabilitation is possible. Them seeing that alone can help change their mindset, change their culture, because now I'm educating you and you know that I was here as a prisoner. So it's also gives them that. Now they got to think twice before they treat someone bad, because you never know where you're going to meet someone again. That's one of the big things as well. Because I when I go back, I remember like there's an officer, the first officer I met in Pentonville, and we had a clash straight away because he had a different kind of attitude. But then now when I go back and I see him there, it's like, it's his whole aura. It's like, we do there. You know, his tones come down again. Oh okay. Like, because then he sees that, okay, he's really done what, because I used to talk about these things in prison, like what I'm going to do. Like I had a whole notebook full of plans for prisons, all these sort of things. It's like, so I kind of feel like I manifested this whole role, like everything I'm doing, because I wrote this all down. Like, and I remember I used to do it every day, every single day, like, right, okay, this is what my prison would look like. And then doing what I'm doing now, it's like, and I speaking to officers about it, you know, like doing my little survey. What would you want different here? And a lot of the prison staff as well, they kind of just get on with it as well, because they're also institutionalized. They can't see beyond, some of them can't see beyond the prison system. They've been doing it for so long. It's like, okay, prison is a prison, I'm an officer, that's the end of it. I wear black or white, us against them sort of vibe. You know, people carry that culture. And that's where my aim was, to always build that bridge, because in order for rehabilitation to exist, I think building that bridge is so important, and learning from people that are outside. So I used to speak to officers about their day, what's going on, what they've been up to, you know, like normal things. So I'm also in tune with what's going on outside. And that's important. Like, so now that trust between, because I've worked with prison officers, I've gone to lunch with prison officers, those sort of things, and then they can see that, okay, I don't need to be worried about every prison I encounter, because there's that fear factor of, okay, like this person, any of you watched Time on BBC series? Okay, I think that's something you don't one day watch it, but it's a really good series, and it's based on prison. And when you watch that, you see that is the most realistic when it comes to prison culture. Realistic series done by the BBC, played really well, and it shows what could happen where an officer's family, that someone got information on them and their threats, and it puts officers a lot of officers are scared to get too close to a prisoner. And obviously there's that saying, be friendly, we don't need to be friends, but just having that, okay, yeah, I played football yesterday, what's someone going to do with that information? But I understand why it can be scary for some officers, but I think in order for rehabilitation to properly exist, there needs to be a bridge, there needs to be a collaboration between all the agencies in prison and prisoners.
And what's been like one of your go-to, I know you did a little training in Leeds, right?
Yeah.
What's like some of your go-to things when you're kind of training officers in terms of like what they should know or how they should kind of approach things?
Yeah. I think key thing is honesty as an officer. Don't sell dreams. Because especially like we're looking at neurodiversity now more, but then imagine that as working with someone that's autistic and telling them you're going to do this for them, and then you don't do it. How that is actually like how that person is dealing with that. So I think that's key, like being honest, like letting them know whether you can or cannot do something, or following up. That's very important. And treating men like humans. I think above all, that is actually number one. Treating people like humans, like allowing people to understand, okay, you are somebody, you're not just rotting in here. Regardless of how long you got, you're not just gonna rot in here. You one day you're gonna get out, and just that makes a difference. Like just making someone feel like somebody cares about them by just a conversation, that human interaction. Like not just because you get some officers that are a bit more old school. They might even like, some people might even use your prison number to call you or something like that, or just everything is just okay, so regimented, so like, and it can feel a bit degrading, dehumanizing.
Absolutely.
And then you might actually end up feeling like, okay, am I not important? Am I what this person is perceiving I am? Like, no, that's all.
Yeah, because even like thinking about it, because you're speaking to these POs who are not, they're obviously training and about to go in, right? And thinking about how they're going into an institution or system where they become desensitized and they kind of get into a mold in a sense. And I'm thinking about the work that you do and the change that you're making. Do you think, for example, you can change the system, or you kind of doing what you can with the system that is at play? Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. I think changing the system, that's a stretch. That's going to be, that's a lot. That's from above as like. But I think just trying to change mindsets of even if it's one person you capture like changing one prison officer's mindset. You don't know where that dominoes effect can lead to, basically. So it's like, I know when we're in a room and we're educating staff, not everyone's taking it in.
Yeah.
You know, you might come back next week and be like, do you remember what we done last week? You might have staff like, did we, it's the reality, isn't it? Like, but just one person might get it.
Yeah.
Or we're not going to stop until we do get, basically, to do change parts of the culture. Because we can't, I know the prison system is there, the prison population is growing. It's not stopping for now anytime soon. But yeah, so just changing little mindsets, because even now they're doing a whole they brought Scandinavian models into London prisons, so it's more rehabilitative, so it's more focusing on like doing things that are like vocational courses.
Oh, like structures.
Structure, they're
Godfrey, I'm not
doing-
gonna lie to you. So we said Scandinavian models.
Yeah.
My head was like, wait, what?
yeah,
Get on with you.
So that, you know, like the Scandinavian model is more, they focus on your whole, on prisoners rehabilitating. That's their main thing. So they give you the freedom, and then if you mess that up, that's when you go backwards. So they start the other way around. In London, we start from A cat, B cat. We start from a B cat, but then from there you can go from an A cat to a C cat, and then you get a D cat. They start the other way around. So they start with, you get more freedom, and then mess that up. That's when you go backwards.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So when they're doing a little model here where they've got like cooking facilities for you're out all day. You're doing a lot more therapy stuff. They're doing it in like 3 prisons here, and that's something that it's working really well in a minute. And I'm part of the whole training the CMs in regards to that as well. So it's good. They're trying. They're trying 100%.
Just off the back of that, you were talking about the systems and you're talking about how things are changing internally within prisons. But I think it's still important to acknowledge some of the people that get caught up in prison systems and their experiences. And we're talking about being dehumanized and how marginalized that can make people. But prior to even getting to the point where they were already marginalized. So it's just continuing a cycle. And that's the issue, right? That what happened on the outside, just they perpetuate it on the inside. So changing how the system works internally can potentially change how things happen on the outside. Everything's very interconnected.
100%.
We think systemically about culture, culture within prisons that it didn't just develop from within prisons. A lot of it's from outside, whether it's like your background, like so your actual cultural background, the area you grew up in, your family beliefs, they all came from the outside and they come within the prisons. When people are shown care, treated like people, because maybe outside they weren't, that changes things, and they go out with a reformed
100%.
mindset. So yeah, the system is big, but it's the little things that happen on a micro system that can affect things on a larger scale.
100%, because prison can be a criminal university.
100%.
You could go to prison, a petty criminal, come out a big time criminal. Like that's the reality. So as you're saying, it's like just the little things that can happen that can shift the mindsets. You bring it out with you. That I learned. I was in a little group one time, 18 to 25-year-olds. There was about 15 men in the room. An officer asked, who in this room has done a job interview? One person put their hands up. Now, being in that room and only one person put their hands up. Now, when they come out, what are they going to be thinking about? They're not thinking about doing a job interview, because that could be terrifying. You know, your first job interview. Do you two remember your first job interview?
No, you know? I remember my first job.
Yeah.
But I don't remember my first job interview. I remember my first job.
Awful.
I remember it.
Terrifying. It's a terrifying
like,
experience.
I didn't code switch.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she got me so comfortable that I was like, do you know what I mean? And like, I was really young. I was like 16, 17.
I did.
Yeah, no code switching. It was Debenhams, BHS, I think it was back in those
My first job was in Debenhams.
Is
I got
it?
the job though, because I need to code switch.
Okay, sorry. No one taught me.
Exactly. So imagine that, not knowing how to do a job interview. So it's like being there. And I remember like the staff actually set up mock interviews for the men in prison. That little thing there, like, so now you've got your first interview out the way, basically. Even though it was mock, this is your first taste of having a job interview. So when you come out, it's less terrifying. Do you know what I'm saying? Because as you know, like, imagine not even having a CV at 25. Like, who do you ask to help you? It's awkward, isn't it? Like, it's awkward. Or having a CV with no previous experience. You know, like nothing to put on your CV. It's also one of the awkward things. Like, and but having people in prison that understand that, it makes a difference. Like, the organisation Standard, they used to allow men to put jobs that they do in prison on their CV, but maybe not put it's in HMP, but put in the area of the prison. So imagine you're in Brixton, you just put, okay, worked as say you're a survey worker, worked as a waiter in Brixton and put from how long he's working there. And people put that on their CVs now. So they got something to put on their CV. And then when you get to that interview, if you get to the interview stage, then they can ask you more questions. Maybe, obviously, you're going to go for a job. You're going to if they ask you if you've got a criminal record, you're going to declare that anyway. So yeah, that's when you can be more open and honest and speak about it.
There's something about instilling pride in people. It sounds like there's a lot of shame that keeps people stuck. It's shame that will stop people from asking for support with their CV. When they remove that barrier and they allow people to have something to be proud of, that shame is removed and it's like doors open.
Yeah.
And even for you, I hear how much pride you speak with when you talk about the work that you're doing. It opens doors.
100%.
And that's Dr. Amani's bag. She loves talking about shame, but that shame can really, really keep people stuck in cycles. And I think there's something about that within the prison system as well.
Shame is one of those things where it can be a person's downfall, because you know that a lot of man with ego as well.
Yeah.
Ego. And then that's where a lot of even problems start with, like gang issues. A lot of it started from things like shame, feeling embarrassed of maybe losing a fight. Then it escalates into something else, and then people carrying weapons because they don't want to get into a fight because it's the fear of losing, and then it escalates to something else. Shame is a big thing, definitely.
So now I'm just thinking about, because you know I like my gems, but I just want two more things from Godfrey.
Yeah.
I want to know, because you mentioned about your mission.
Yeah.
Right? In terms of what does that look like? I know you've been there now.
Yeah.
I met you 2 years ago and you're still there.
Yeah.
Has it changed, or have you still got the same mission? And then, as I said, sometimes people think of your story as unique. How do we get people through the system into a similar path like yours? What would be your advice? Like one bit. So it's two parts.
Yeah.
Your mission and then some advice for people getting through the system.
I think, so my mission is to support men that coming out of prison. That's the main aim. Get them into job roles they never thought they could do, that sort of things with a criminal record, and just getting rid of that stigma around having a criminal record and understand that you can do anything. Like, there's so many people out there doing great things. Like, you got Isaiah James, man, know who that is? Okay, he's doing phenomenal things. He's into the fitness world, but he's doing like sponsorships by High Rocks. He's doing great and amazing things. We've got someone called F1 as well. He's doing a thing called hood balling. So he's bringing hoods, like areas together through football, doing amazing things. And he went to prison. I think now, especially with the internet, social media, you can do whatever you want to do. But I think that mission for me is to actually help highlight that, help put that motivation into people. Yeah. That's one of my biggest things. That's why I'm here today, because like I'm saying, I'll get shy. but I thought, you know what, this is all part of the mission, actually. So I'll say for anyone that's trying to get into any type of like lived experience role, anything like that, I think you just got, number one, you got to know how to showcase yourself. Like I've now understood things like LinkedIn. Like LinkedIn is the place now. You can find out anything. You can see who's hiring all over the place, and don't be scared to just put yourself out there. Like because someone somewhere would take in something that you've got to offer was going to outshine your whole past. Like something you got to offer. So, and did I answer your question?
You did.
Kind of. Yeah. But yeah, just go for it. I think that's one of the things. Just do whatever you want to do. I think because like one of the things that I've realized as well, like when it comes to that hunger, especially if you're so hungry for that money, the more hungry you are, the less discriminative you are of what you eat. So that's in that way you can end up, you're taking in all types of pressures because you think you're hungry for the money, you're chasing the money, chasing the clout. You can end up doing anything because you're less discriminative of what you eat. So I think taking a sit back and actually thinking about what you actually want out of life. Don't chase everything, because not everything is gold. Not everything that glitters is gold. That's what they say, innit? So actually understanding what you want out of life. Like now, I really, really like family time is one of my biggest things now. Like spending time with, being able to go to the park with the kids is my goal. That's my £1 million day. Like literally like little things, going to the beach, like traveling with the kids and just being home with them sometimes, like reading a story, watching a movie, making them milkshakes, you know. Them sort of moments are are crucial to me now. Like not having all the money no more, because those are the sort of things I used to live for, like making money. I used to think about it. I became a cash hoarder. Like I just loved I loved the look of cash, having cash around me. I loved it. But then you start realizing, even when it comes to financial literacy, okay, you got all this cash, but now what? Sort of thing. Like, what are you going to do with it? What can you do with it? Do you understand that, especially when they're changing the notes a lot, what are you going to do with the old notes? There's so much things that you end up chasing and realizing then what? There's always a then what. So you just got to find what makes you happy. I think that's my biggest thing now, is just trying to be happy. Like, be happy, chase my goal, make sure that. Another thing that I really want to do is get more people with lived experience into schools. I think that'll make a huge difference. Schools are struggling. Schools, that, especially when it comes to like the vape pandemic, where there's loads of vapes in schools, people are getting tricked into smoking things like spice as little kids, passing out, ambulance are getting called to schools. I think having a certain like man with lived experience in that school, they might catch on to that early, know how to talk to someone like a little brother and not just have that authoritative figure, especially when you've had a mistrust for the system yourself. You might approach things differently because there's probably something you went through in school that you didn't like, or you didn't like a way a teacher approached you, and now you can go in there with a whole different aura, atmosphere, and talk to people like little brothers or nephews, that sort of vibe, and it can make a difference, I think. So that's something that I really, really want to do. And I know it's a scary thing for schools to even take on someone with a criminal record. It's scary because there's stigma behind it, what the parents going to think, sort of thing. But I've worked in a primary school and I think I've done a great job.
Yeah, I'm definitely an advocate for lived experience, and I've had the pleasure of actually working with Godfrey, and I've seen the reception he gets when he actually goes into these systems, and just continue doing the great work. I'm glad you're still there and you're still rising. It's amazing to hear. So with that being said, should we go on to our debrief?
Okay, so are you familiar, or I'm sure you are, with what's been happening? Sorry, we didn't explain this segment. So this segment is where we react to a clip.
Okay.
So the clip would be typically something that might be in the news or something current or something relevant to our field. So this week we are, I don't think it's going to be a reaction. It's going to be a discussion around the late Dr. Ade. And I think it's important for us to have this conversation. I think a lot has happened prior to his passing, after his passing. A lot of comments have been made. And I think it's important that we speak about it from a psychological perspective, but also from a human perspective. I think he has been dehumanized
100%.
by the systems. And this is, I think, more so for education, so people can understand. Not that people don't understand, but the conversation needs to be had so it lands, because it clearly doesn't land and didn't land for some. The more conversations had, the more we can increase understanding. So we're going to react to a clip by Dr. Ron. Big up Dr. Ron. Is another clinical psychologist, and he articulates the actual impact of the dogpiling, the impact of what happens to an individual when their system collectively almost turns against them, when their system collectively takes everything they have away from them, their livelihood, and how isolating it can be. And we'll build on what Dr. Ron says. So we'll show you the video first.
I have been very mindful about expressing my thoughts relating to Jason Ade, simply because it's too close to home. A black male academic from South London, held up as a symbol by an institution, was probably the youngest in a lot of rooms. It's left a very sour taste in my mouth. I want to talk about what happens to a person when the internet decides to destroy them. I mean, what actually happens psychologically inside a human being who becomes the story. Most of what I talk about on here is threat, danger, and nervous system built to keep you alive. But this isn't that. Public destruction isn't a threat to your survival, it's a threat to your belonging or identity. And for most of human history, being cast out of the group was death. So the body treats it as death, but doesn't respond the way it does to danger. There's no fight, there's no flight, there's collapse. The urge to hide, to disappear, to make yourself smaller until there's nothing left to aim at. Which is why from the outside, it doesn't look like distress. It looks like withdrawal, and withdrawal gets read as guilt. Then there's the part that makes it unbearable. There is nothing you can do. Defend yourself and you feed it. Say nothing and it's taken as admission. Apologize and it's taken as confession. Every available response makes it worse. That state where nothing you do changes what's happening to you has a name in my field. Learned helplessness. And it is one of the most reliable routes into serious psychological deterioration we know of. It doesn't take something from you. It unmakes you. It rewrites everything you thought you were. At the exact moment that person needs support the most, every source of it is stripped. Colleagues go quiet. Institutions distance themselves fast because their exposure is reputational and the person's is existential. The professional identity goes, the community goes, everything that would normally hold someone through the worst thing that's ever happened to them is removed, precisely because the worst thing is happening. Accountability has an endpoint. You did this, this follows, then it's finished. Public destruction has no endpoint, no threshold anyone has to cross, no process, no sentence, no completion. It doesn't stop when someone has answered for what they did because nobody is deciding when enough is enough. That isn't accountability. And here's what makes it possible. Nobody experiences themselves as the cause. Your comment is one of 40,000. It's nothing. Except the weight isn't any one of them. It's in all of them. So two things. If the crowd is already there, you're not adding information, you're adding weight. The 100th comment tells nobody anything they didn't already know. It just makes the pile heavier. And when the story moves on, because it always does, remember that the person does not. Everyone else gets to stop thinking about it. We have to live with what's left. People have built a machine with no brakes and no ending, and they convince themselves that because they each only pushed once, none of them pushed at all. It's a disgrace. Rest in peace, Jason Arde.
Oh, that's deep. That's so deep. That's deep.
Big up Dr. Ron. He articulated himself so eloquently.
Yeah, he did. That sounded like poetry.
Right?
Yeah.
Spoken word.
Spoken word.
Yeah. I think I want to first and foremost say that this is not about telling people to do better. I think it's been said enough. There's been so many think pieces. You need to do better. I think this is about actually understanding what happens if we don't do better. If you don't understand why you should do better, then why should you do better? We need to actually understand why we need to do better and the impact of public scrutiny and actually thinking about how we can safeguard people when they're in the media and also the racial implications and the undertones of this. Dr. Ron is an expert in PTSD, particularly with young black men that have experienced community violence. So he understands the ins and outs of how trauma can affect someone. This event, I imagine, would have been traumatic. And when we think about trauma, there are lots of different definitions, but particularly trauma in a racial context is understood as psychological injury. So some people might call it psychological injury related to a race-related event. So if something related to your race happens and it causes some sort of psychological injury and it's cumulative, so it happens again and again and again and again, that can have a significant impact. And that's exactly what Ron is speaking to. So I think we're going to get into a little bit about what happens when this happens, what it looks like, and why people should do better, why people should think twice before they add to that the accumulation of the things people are going through, and how race feeds into this.
What would be like your raw thoughts? Because I've got some, but I was wondering, because I know you also had kind of a link in terms of your work and your research
Yeah, so just for context, my doctoral thesis looks at systemic racism within various systems, or I call them systemic domains. So essentially the media, education, the criminal justice system, workplaces and employment, the employment sector and healthcare. They're all interconnected. They are all linked. Systemic racism refers to racism on a more institutional context and how it's implemented. It's implemented through things like policy, laws, and through that is how minoritized, I'll call them the global majority or minoritized people, are impacted and how they enforce that. There was systemic racism in various institutions, the media being one of it, mainstream media being one, social media also being another, and the education. And it's been said and said again, I'm sure people listening that know the case well know that a lot of Jason Arde's work looked at systemic racism within the education sector. And a week or so ago, I said that there's a wider agenda to this. People want to silence that. So it's sad that things have ended this way because it was part of an agenda to mute his voice and mute his work. And I remember seeing the news of his passing, and it sounds mad, but the first thing I thought is, I'm never going to be able to see a new publication from him that exposes this thing further. And I imagine the weight of all of this would have been all the more heavier because he probably thought, this is the exact thing that I've been speaking to, and this is the exact thing that is so heavy for me. So I think beyond losing someone, great, we also need to acknowledge the wider forces at play here. And I think what the media were doing, were trying to do, what they continue to do, what they always do, how they always paint not just Black people, but the global majority, and what also the institution which he was employed by did, what other academics did. It was all part of a agenda that's upheld by institutional power. Yeah, I think that is where my thoughts go to first, before the psychological and emotional toll of losing the system that holds you, so your identity. So when we think about people, their existence, how they belong, the fabrics of who they are, you're first an individual, and you spoke to some of this when you were talking about your work, you're first the individual, right? Then you have systems around you like family, school, work, and then outside of that you have things like culture, media, then maybe your geography, and then the societal climate or the political climate in which you're living in. And it's almost like all of these things, maybe other than friends and family, he didn't have. They were taken away from him. So, you know, he went through so much, and I don't think people realize. And like Ron said, it's not one comment or one thing; it's everything collectively together.
Yeah.
That becomes so heavy and so unbearable. And I think that's when we're talking about understanding, people need to understand that one video you post, that one comment you make is adding to that weight, and it's contributing to something wider. We need to widen our lens. I think sometimes when things happen, people are so tunnel vision and they think so linear about things. Those are my initial thoughts.
Yeah. Do you know what for me is you spoke about the emotional, kind of like the psychological injury that you're kind of experiencing.
Yeah.
I didn't actually get that at first at all. And I think it's because for me, a protective mechanism is to kind of shut off, or potentially is actually I'm desensitized to, for example, Black people being put in positions and then being kind of stricken down in one form or another.
Yeah.
I think for me, growing up, especially from the Caribbean, I wasn't born here. Our vehicle to escape was never sports or music, all right? It was always education. So to see a Black man who, for example, represents Black excellence, get to this position where we were always told they can't take your mind from you. So in a sense, they can't take your education from you. So to see someone get so high and for people to then take that away, in a sense, was to my core shocking. You know, as a black male, we're told you have to work hard, you have to be smart, the smartest in the room, you have to be excellent. We can't be, for example, mediocre, or we can't be just good enough. We always have to do the absolute most in order for you to, for example, even get into these room or belong, for people to accept you into these groups. So for me, it's thinking about how is that impacting now all of us seeing this happen in front of our eyes. And on top of that, it's not just a black male, someone who was neurodiverse. That seems to have gone out the window. People talking about duty of care, all these things that he signified, there wasn't any of that. You know, so for me, it's actually resting heavier now than before. And it's potentially because I've been giving it more time to actually think and let it seep in. Hold on. This vehicle that I've always known, you have to have all these accolades and X, Y, and Z. And even then, you can still be attacked and stripped as if you don't belong. What is it that we signify when we get into these rooms that people just can't accept?
Yeah.
You know, and it goes back to that kind of tokenism, right? Is it just for example, the not face value, but actually all these things that you, your makeup? It's like, no. You can only do as much as we say. So we put the limits. You can't exceed those.
I'm going to speak to that. There's two things happening here. There's the myth of meritocracy, and that's the idea if you work hard enough, you will succeed. Don't matter what colour you are. It doesn't matter what your background is. If you do the things, you're going to get to the places.
Right.
It's a myth. It's a myth, right? I'll speak to that. The other thing is, which I speak a lot about in my work, is interest convergence.
Yeah.
And that's the idea that the systems that are in place, the biggest system is the government, right? It's the UK government, and underneath the UK government, you have all these different facets and all these different institutions. But essentially, these institutions, whether it's your workplace, whether it's the NHS, whether it's whatever the institution, the media, a lot of the time when policies or actions are taken to benefit global majority people, or anyone actually that is not necessarily doesn't sit within a place of privilege, when those things are done, they're done because it benefits the institution directly, right? So there's a convergence of interest. Okay, I'll do that if it benefits us, but if it doesn't benefit us, then we don't care. So when we think about the financial implications of the things they were putting out there, it was probably getting views, right? It was clickbait. They were probably getting money. So it's not in their interest to not excessively post
100%.
about what's happened or what Jason Ade allegedly did. So there's two things happening there, but don't get me started. I want to hear what you think of any ideas about.
For me, I'll be honest, I was really taken back by that whole situation, because I remember sitting there one day and I see Jason Ade being championed. So I see it on social media, everyone talking about all the great things he's done, these pictures there. Then next thing I see, he's being scrutinized for everything that he's saying he's done. You got people doing whole reaction videos talking about everything that he allegedly done. I think so. I was shocked by that, and I felt like for me it was more of our own. A lot of black people getting involved in that situation, in tearing him down, and then actually listen. And it's one of my biggest fears, especially when it comes to like social media, is that what's going to happen when, because for example, like I work with prison officers. There's a stigma behind that. As someone that come from a certain place and now you work with prison officers, it's like, are they going to start calling me a snitch or a snake? You know, like those sort of things. Like that's also something that. But then I know that it's such a sad situation because we've lost someone. Someone's lost their life, like, and actually taking back social media is that place where it gives people freedom of speech, and it's hard because then it's like, okay, if you put yourself out there, can you be upset if someone does say something about you? It's a hard one, but obviously it's just sad because we saw someone being championed for greatness and then tear down. And you will see videos from people that maybe, why are you so invested in, because I'll be honest, I didn't know much about him. I didn't know much about the work that he does. I didn't know, but it was just great to see a young black man being championed, but it was just sad to see him being teared down. I think for me, it's hard because systemic racism exists. We know it exists, and it's one of the things that it's become the norm. It's like, for me, and it's sad because in prison, like, there's systemic racism. You know that when you go into prison as a young black man, there's that stigma behind you straight away. Okay, yeah, he must be a gang member, or he's in prison for such and such. Like, I remember going into one prison where I realised that they just put all the black people on this wing. So if you're black and you look a certain way, they're profiling, you're going on this wing. That's systemic racism. Do you know what I'm saying? That's part of it. But we get used to it. We get used to it and we start adapting to it, thinking this is normal. And that's just how it is. And that's the saddest part. And that's all part of my mission, to get rid of them little stigmas that certain things are not acceptable. And I think actually seeing people telling them, we got to understand social media's got to do more when it comes to these sort of things as well. I think they should be held accountable, allowing these sort of things. But yeah, it's a hard one because I find it hard to talk about this subject because especially I don't know much about him, and it's that. Yeah, it is a lot to talk about.
You said social media needs to be held accountable.
Yeah.
But you also said that it's normal, which it's designed to be, by the way. It's designed to, particularly in the UK, so I'm talking about in the UK context because there's systemic racism in other Western context, right? Yeah. But it's actually designed to be pervasive, undetected, under the radar, intentionally. And as time has gone on, it's become more and more. It's very British. It's very quiet, muted, but it's there. Yeah. Especially if you're black, if you're Asian, if you're from a minoritized background, you can hear it, you can feel it, but it's designed to be muted. So when you call it out, that's not racism. How is that racism? And that's what you'll find people who don't understand. Because if you know, you know. That's what I always say. If you know, you know. If you don't, well. Yeah. But no, like you said, they should be held accountable, but the argument will be like, well, it's not. And then they'll hide behind that, the weaponized ignorance or incompetence of what they're doing. Hence why this conversation needs to be had, that actually this is why what was done was racist. And there's countless examples of other academics who weren't held to the same standard, that didn't receive the same treatment, and they just weren't black. And thinking about why, I think you asked, I don't know why they were going on and on and on about him, on particularly Jason Ade and not others, is because there's something about power. You spoke about, he's done this, he's done this, he's done this. With that comes power. Maybe not the most power, but there's power with these titles, with the work that he's doing. He's influencing how institutions look at and work with students, right? So there's more and more power, and the idea of systemic racism is to maintain power with certain people. And the initial argument, so if we look at things like critical race theory, which is one of the like I don't want to intellectualize this, but it's like one of the frameworks that where systemic racism, you know, comes from, what explains systemic racism. It says that it's embedded in whiteness, and whiteness is held or adjacent to power, right? When whiteness loses that power, then it becomes a threat. So what happens when there's threat? There's attack, and that's how that's happening, and it's not obvious because if you don't understand and you don't know, it's just gonna be like, oh well, this is just what's happened on the face of it, the tip of the iceberg. But if you really think about it critically, what's going on here and what happens all the time. And do you know what's so scary? This is something that just had a magnifying glass on it. So we watched all of this happen in real time. How many other people experience this in these different systems? And I'm not just talking about social media, within the NHS. It happens in different ways, right?
One in, one out.
Right. Within the NHS, within the prison system. You're talking about people are learning CPR. Other prisons are giving each other CPR. What's going on? There's so much issues, and you're putting all black people in the same wing. What does that mean for risk and how they're safeguarded, and what's happening there in the NHS? The disproportionate black people that are going in and out of inpatient units or being diagnosed with psychosis, maternal death rates. It happens in different systems at different levels. This is just something we sort of one person
Yep.
that we just saw in real time of how dangerous systemic racism is, right? But it's just one example. It hasn't stopped. It's still there
100%.
within each system. So I think we're talking about two different issues here as well. We're talking about the dangers of systemic racism, but also talking about the psychological impact of how people are framed and how they're not safeguarded, particularly Black people within like the public eye. There's two things, but they're both really interlinked.
And see that thing, right? Especially when you're speaking about the racism and you literally saying about different forms, different levels. Even like NHS leadership, you always see, and forgive me, literally one in, one out. So you see like you see it, one Black person that's seeing leadership, and then there's not usually ever anymore. But once that person's gone, there's always one to replace.
To maintain the power, yeah.
To maintain, right? There's something something around us having to be like the top of our game, the 1%, the excellent. But there's a consequence that comes with that. There's an anxiety that comes with that to maintain. It's exhausting.
Yes.
Because we cannot make the same misstep.
No.
Normal misstep, by the way. This is human nature. Everyone always tells you it's human to make mistakes. Not for us. Clearly.
100%.
Clearly.
100%.
And we're not going to get into the isms and schisms of what. But do you understand?
Yeah.
We are not allowed to. And that's what comes with being excellent. So when we talk about black excellence, we put it up and, we champion it. I'm not saying we shouldn't. But what is good enough?
But why do we have to be excellent?
Thank
We're
you.
not afforded the privilege to not be excellent. And when people speak to white privilege, they'll say it's not a thing. Actually, no, white privilege is the being afforded the privilege to not be excellent.
There we go.
Just because of how you look, which sounds ridiculous, and people might argue with it. The research is there, the paper is there, there is evidence that that's what's happening, and it wears people down. It's exhausting. It's exhausting, and that's what's that's what's happened here. It's heavy. It's heavy.
100%.
It's definitely. And for me, especially not knowing much about it and then having people doing narratives about it. So there's a guy that I see and he was breaking down his book, but basically saying how this is a lie, that's a lie. But he's breaking down. So now for someone like me that doesn't know much, it's like, I'm not taking his word for gospel, but I'm thinking, oh, okay, is this what was happening? And he happens to be a white man. But for me, I didn't understand the fact that why was this particular individual so invested in everything that's going on? I didn't understand that because it's like he got the book, read the book just to criticize. And that is, for me, it's like, it's scary because why would you do that? Like, I didn't understand that why you want to just read something just to tear a man down. Like, did you buy or read the book to actually understand this individual or just to criticize everything he says? Because then you go back and you start trying to connect fundraiser pages to the book and all of that. So you've gone to investigate. And that for me was a bit shocking, but yeah.
You know, people talk about unconscious bias.
Yeah.
I have a thing about unconscious bias because you should be aware of something like that.
Yeah.
But a lot of people aren't. So I'm not even entirely sure if that guy even knew why he was doing that or what was driving that. Because why would you do that?
Yeah.
There are many academics,
100%.
celebrities, politicians that lie about what they do.
Yeah.
But why is this... And that's that unconscious, and like I said, unconscious bias also feeds into the systemic racism because we're in denial that this thing exists. And so if you were to probably ask him, like, because it's immoral, it's this, that, I'm sure he'll give you every reason under the sun. But consciously, I don't even know if it would occur to him to say out loud. He probably wouldn't say out loud that actually it's because this is a black person and it bothers me more that it's a black person. And this black person shouldn't have this much power because that's not how things should be. I don't want to simplify this too much, and I don't want to intellectualize it. I just want people to think. These are ideas. I just need people to think about it.
100%. You got to think about. I know you was asking the question why this and why Jason Arde, and we got to think about what did he represent and what was he threatening? That's
the big thing.
That's the crux of it, you know. This black man who's neurodiverse, who is in an institution that is typically white, is a professor. He's not just there's not a student. He's a professor there. He was being championed, and then people found problems. Why? What was he threatening? You know, where are we as people supposed to be, and what boxes should we be fitting in? And potentially he was in a box that some people didn't like him in.
Sad.
Which is sad.
Yeah,
but it's a kind of like a, not a reality, but like a shock. As a collective, sometimes we're like, hold on. Even as you said, meritocracy, you know, we've kind of like clung on to that generationally. You know, this is how you get accepted, you know, brains, this is how you level the playing field. And then to see something like that, it just, you know.
You do 10 times more.
Yeah.
Just to exist. Just to exist. Race aside, I'd also like, I think people should be tapping into the sense of humanity. We've spoken about being dehumanized. And again, there's something about how black bodies, black faces, black people are dehumanized. It might be unconscious. It might be part of a systemic issue. So I read a book, it's called Caste, and right at the beginning it tries to explain what systemic racism is. And it explains systemic racism as, like, imagine a really old house, crookedy, brought down. The house is like, it's on its last legs. But systemic racism is the foundation of the house, right? And to think of the house as society, you would have to literally remove knock the house down and then remove the foundation and then build it up for systemic racism to not exist. But also think about foundation being, it's not hidden. It's not hidden, it's not seen, it's something that's hidden. So in order to be aware of it and address it, you have to bring it to people's awareness. Otherwise, it's so hard to not recognize. And I think the community know that what happened to Jason Arde was driven by race. But I don't think that's for us to know, acknowledge. It's for the systems in place to know and acknowledge, because they all are perpetuating this, and it becomes so difficult because it's at the foundation, it's right at the bottom. So for them to become aware of it and acknowledge it and accept it, like, actually, this is what we did, or this is what we fed into, it becomes really, really difficult. It becomes really hard.
Yeah, definitely. And I think one of the things, especially when I was in prison, there was a time where there wasn't no hairbrush on the canteen sheet, no do-rag, no cream for black people, nothing that we can use. And the thing was, everybody just accepted it. It only took for a conversation with a white governor who understood systemic racism. And he initially pointed it out, like, okay, so what hairbrush do you use? Like, conversation. And he understood, and then that's when we understood that, bro, like, actually nothing for us on there. Nothing on this canteen sheet. But then that's when it comes to that point where, are they thinking about us? When they're creating this canteen sheet, it's not part of their thought process. So thinking a hairbrush is a hairbrush or a comb is a comb, but not understanding that there's only we need certain textures, certain combs, do-rags, all these sort of things. And then this person, this white governor, actually got all the stuff put on the canteen sheet. And that was amazing to see, like, a white man understanding that there is a level of systemic racism within the prison system. What can he do to make the difference? And that made a difference. Having been able to have cocoa butter, you know, it takes that, those sort of things just help take you back to home as well. So not taken away from, like, the situation we were talking about and how important it is. It's just that systemic racism is a big thing, and it's in all the institutions. But as you're saying, that some of it, we just take it as if it's normal, and we do brush it under the carpet. There is that fear factor of speaking out as well on systemic racism. And that's something that needs to change, definitely. So I think us highlighting it now today is important, it's crucial. Even if, for me, that don't really understand the situation. Well, I know what I've seen, but haven't dug deep into it. I know that it is something that's important to highlight, 100%.
You said you don't want to take away from the situation. I think you've illustrated it really well, actually. You've illustrated it perfectly. So this governor saw there was an issue.
Yeah.
He said, these are people. Because imagine you go somewhere, there's not even somewhere to brush your hair.
Imagine.
Yeah.
Or a do-rag. Like, it sounds little, but these are basic things you do to look after yourself.
Yeah.
And what messages that tell someone that you're not cared for.
Yeah.
We don't care about. He's affording you something.
Yeah.
He's affording you some dignity. He's affording you your humanity.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
So if we take this back to the situation, why cannot media platforms look at even race, anyone from a marginalized or, you know, has some difference, a different background, and say, why can't we afford this person some dignity? Why can we not afford this person some safety? It's completely relevant. But until they acknowledge that actually there's some difference here, they're not going to be able to make that offer.
Oh, 100%.
Because Jason Ade wasn't afforded safety. He was not safeguarded at all. At all. But they didn't think, actually, what we're going a bit hard here. We're doing a bit too much. Why is that? Oh, do you know what? Like, this is different. This has never happened with a black academic. Maybe we're doing a bit too much, because that small bit of curiosity might have been like, okay, let's afford him that. He wasn't afforded that because people don't acknowledge, or might not be aware. There's an argument about people are aware, they don't want to acknowledge it, or people are just simply not aware. I don't know what the truth behind that is, but the bottom line is it needs to be acknowledged and spoken about. Once you do that, you can do something about it.
100%.
Like what the government did for you. And I think that's why, again, this conversation is being had. It's not about calling individuals out. It's not even about calling individuals racist, whether they are or not. I think it's irrelevant. The issue is what's happening systemically and what is under the surface, what's under the foundation. That's what the issue is. It's about bringing it to people's awareness, including black people who also fed into systemic racism when they did what they did. And unless you acknowledge and pause and think, oh, what's going on here? This is a lot. You can't do anything to address it. And that's what the issue is, and that's why it's so dangerous. The same way in the prison, if someone's needs are not being met, they're not being treated as what impact is that going to have on them
100%.
psychologically? I don't matter.
Yeah.
No one wants to listen to me. We spoke about self-harm.
Yeah.
We spoke about how people regulate when they're not seen as important, they're not seen as human. And that's what systemic racism is designed to do, by the way. Going all the way back to the transatlantic slave trade, it's designed to dehumanize any other race. That's not white. That's what it's designed to do, and it continues to do that. And the psychological impact and toll is fatal. It can be fatal. Sorry, it can be fatal.
I think the thing is, as a community, I still think we feel the impact of systemic racism, and many of us are just tired. So I know so many people are looking for a kind of response or fight back or whatever it might be. And it's difficult because so many people have been fighting for so long, and they've kind of now gone into a position where the system's beating them so much. They're not complicit. It's just that voice is no longer there at the forefront. So I'm not here to kind of tell anyone what to do and how to kind of respond, but it's just to not forget what's happened. And in your own way, whatever change or conversation you can have, because you spoke about earlier, even when you're, for example, training the staff, it might be that one person that listens. If you're able to bring that to that meeting that week or whatever it is, just to mention, do what you can, but also still protect yourself. Because I understand there's layers and levels to it. So I'm not here to tell people what to do, but don't forget what's happened.
Essentially, it's not about, we always do call to action. I don't think the call to action is necessarily for us. I think if anything for us, it's just about, guys, be aware about what's happening. Be aware of the wider picture. Be conscious of what's happening here, so you're also not feeding into it. The call to action are for those the people who hold the power, and the people that hold the power, they might be white, they might be Asian, they might be black. It doesn't matter. They're the people that are maintaining systems, policies, and how these things are getting perpetuated. The call to action should come from above rather than below. And what's happening here. But all this to say, like, this is just about awareness. And I think
100%.
sometimes, like you said, because it's so hidden and it's so hard to point out, we forget. And then it becomes unconscious. It's about calling these things to consciousness. And when you see things happening, that's a bit like, oh, what's happening? Just question it. Why would that be happening? why would they be picking on this guy? Why is this person having this experience? Really think about it and just be aware of what's happening, because we don't want to feed into a system that is designed to oppress us or anybody for that matter.
And it's back to what Godfrey says, which is what he's doing at the hub, that curiosity. Don't lose that curiosity in terms of when these situations do crop up and happen. Why has that happened? You know? So that's what I would say. Is that our gems?
Yes.
Yeah.
And again, a call to just remember people are human.
Yeah.
And psychological injury, pain, it's cumulative. It's not what one person says. It's not what happened one time. It's persistent, it's relentless, and it's dangerous. So before you comment or before you add and before you pile on, remember and consider what someone has been through prior to that, because it's heavy, it's a lot.
Absolutely. Yes. So then, condolences to his family and close friends.
100%.
And with further ado, should we go on to our letter to the couch?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
This is our last segment.
Yeah.
It is a dilemma that is usually sent by a viewer. We read it out and they probably ask for some sort of advice.
Okay.
Give whatever advice we can, best way we can.
Ready? So, the letter is today. Hi, doctors, and our honorary doctor in Godfrey today. Thanks for the space to discuss issues without judgment. I'm wondering what your thoughts are about keeping confidences from your partner. What I mean is, if you're told something in confidence by a friend or family member and is not about your partner or will have no impact on your partner, is it wrong to keep the information to yourself? My partner said that it looks like I don't trust him, but I'm trying to say that it's more about not breaking the trust others have in me. He's not getting it and thinks that I'd be capable of keeping him in the dark about things that could affect him. How do I deal with this? That's interesting.
That is interesting. But I think listening to that, so she must have brought it up and then probably said, okay, I can't tell you. It must have been one of those, you know, like, brought it up. That's true. Yeah, so like, that is what it is. Now he's eager to know, curiosity. So I think in the future, I think it's a difficult one, because I think if it doesn't impact him in any type of way, nothing to do with him, nothing's going to affect him at all, then I don't know if you have to tell him. But then if you brought it up and then withdrew, then I'm going to want to know now. Like, but I'm not. I don't know. For me, I'm thinking if it's me, how would I react if she brought it up and then took it back?
Let me give you a curveball then.
Yeah.
So what happens if, for example, something happens with a friend and it comes out for everyone to know, and then he's looking at you like, oh, did you know this? And she's like, yeah. What then?
For me, Dennis, I don't know. Then it might be like, oh, so why didn't you tell me? Like, sort of thing. But then you are going to wonder, is she keeping more secrets? You are going to wonder, maybe ponder on it a little bit more. But then it's just down to self. Because I think for me, personally, I don't think I'll be as invested in wanting to know. Only if it got brought up and then she's withdrew, then I want to know. Like, because then the conversation's going to be a bit awkward and be like, oh, actually, my friend told me I can't tell you, or I can't tell no one. Then it's like, why though? Like, what is it? Is it that deep for that? But you should be able to tell me anything, I'm your partner, sort of thing. Then, but I don't know. I think for me, I wouldn't be.
Godfrey's torn. Look at him.
I'm definitely torn.
He's
I'm
torn.
definitely torn. But I don't think it's that deep, especially if it doesn't impact you. But then at the same time, it's why are you not telling me? It's a difficult one, but just tell him. I'm joking. I'm joking.
Dr. Sheryl, what do you think?
I think this is about when we think about couples and relationships and even families and even friendships, people have boundaries, they have rules, they have ways of functioning, and so that relationship or that dynamic can function, and within that there's a shared understanding about how things are communicated, what's shared, and I suppose you have expectations for each other. So I'd be curious about what the expectations are around sharing secrets or things that are private, and honesty, and how important honesty is, and is that in specific context? Is that even when it pertains to other people's business that has nothing to do with your relationship? It's hard to tell. I could give my personal perspective, or I could give a very objective perspective, and I think objectively, with the psychology hat on, I'd be asking about what are the narratives around trust and honesty in the relationship, and if she doesn't share something, it doesn't say what the confident thing is, does it?
No, it doesn't say. Just generally speaking.
Yeah, so I would be interested about what the narratives are about exactly what's shared. Is it everything and anything, no matter what? Because like you said, you don't know if it's about that something that has nothing to do with the relationship, or something that has a direct impact on the relationship. If it has a direct impact on the relationship, then that's about communication and opening a line of communication. So I'd open that line of communication. But then if it's about things outside of that, then I think a conversation needs to be had about narratives about trust, honesty, and things that don't necessarily have a direct impact on the relationship. But yeah, I think there's a big emphasis and an important narrative around trust and honesty, particularly for the partner.
Definitely.
In this,
I was straight away going into what's the partner's potential experience of that trust being broken.
Yes.
Straight away, I was like, "Ooh, what's going on? Has someone broken your trust
In the past.
in the past?" And actually, this is kind of like a trigger potentially.
Yeah.
Because from the letter, it says that it's nothing to do with their kind of relationship, or it kind of impacts the partner whatsoever. So, but it's not about that from my perspective. So it's what does this signify, that you've got something that you won't tell me. Like, but we are supposed to be in tandem. Like, we are a couple. Why would you keep something away from me? And that's obviously creating some sort of like, oh my God, am I losing you potentially?
Yeah. What does it
thinking.
mean?
Yeah. What does it mean?
If you don't tell me something, what does it mean? Does it mean that I'm losing you?
Yeah.
Does it mean that you're keeping things from me? Does it mean you're gonna leave me?
Yeah.
So do you guys think she should have never brought it up in the first place?
I actually think there's a difference between intention and then how it makes someone feel. So she might not have an intention to, for example, make him feel this way.
Yeah.
But it's landed that way anyway.
Yeah.
So it's an open communication about, okay, what does this actually mean? And working through that. Because it might not be anything to do with this specific thing. It's actually underlying it. Is that one, that trust potentially means if it's broken, you're actually distanced from me, and I might lose you, or we're not as close as I thought. All those things are underneath it. Tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
So that's communication thing is only the tip of it, that situation. What's underneath it? We need to dig. So I don't think it's wrong to bring it up. It's just, can we explore it?
Yeah.
Openly.
In the grand scheme of things, this is not even really about the secret or whatever she can't tell him. There's something going because he has such an issue with it, to the point where this person's written in to us because it's become a point of contention. So there's something underneath that. So like you said, that opening the line of communication. Okay, so why is this such an issue for you? Depending on whatever this information is. So it's not that she shouldn't have told him that she knows something, and then he's like, oh, well, but then what conversations happened after that, I think, is what's more important.
Yeah. If I was to take my psychology hat off now, though, right? It's interesting because I don't know how you guys gonna think or feel about it, but most people always say, like, when people are in couple, what do they call it? Like
Pillow talking.
Yeah, pillow talk. So I'm just wondering again, like social media wise, right? And in society, people always think like, if you talk,
you do pillow talk.
100%. That's being pillow talks.
And what's the function of pillow talk, right? It's a form of connection and
There
intimacy with your partner, right?
Yeah.
So there might be that for them, for the partner. Well, the way they connect. You're supposed to be able to tell me everything.
Why not telling me everything? Psychology hat at home. But I understand.
No, but there's also validity in that, and then that might be something they have to discuss. And he was just like, "This is how I connect with you, and I'm gonna need you to do that." And that actually might be something they establish in their relationship, and the rule that they have. They tell each other everything.
Yeah.
If she's not comfortable with that, then another boundary or another rule or another narrative is going to need to come in about how they navigate that. But this needs to be moved through via communication, because there's reasons why she might not want to share things as well.
Yeah, exactly.
There might be things with her trust. Or did it say if it was a man or a woman? I'm giving people genders. I don't know what
No,
this.
100%, because it didn't tell me exactly. It just says partner.
You see how I just assumed that it was the woman that had the secret?
See?
I assume.
Hey.
Unconscious bias.
That's so true, though. Yeah, it only says partner. Yeah.
Okay.
So we don't know. But obviously they want to know how to deal with this. Generally, we're saying
Discussion.
Yeah,
Discussion.
I think it's about understanding what it means to share information with each other. Is it about trust? Is it about honesty? Is it about connection? And then having a discussion about what's done moving forward when there is information. They might turn around and say, well, if it has something to do with the relationship, just don't say it, because I'm going to want to know. And that's something they put in place to avoid this. Or they might say, actually, in future, we're just going to tell each other everything because it's important for our relationship, because that's how I connect and that's how I feel I can trust you. Then the question might be raised about, oh, do you have an issue with trust? That's going to be a whole nother conversation that needs to be had. Conversation needs to be had. And I always repeat this when we get dilemmas, but I'm like, sometimes I feel like I'm just saying, just talk about it. But I think it's important to know why you're talking about it and what you're raising in those conversations as well. Those things definitely need to be raised and explored.
100%. And I know you as you said, if we feel like we keep on saying the same thing. We are, but we're not. Because I feel like every time something like this comes up, or we have a letter, we are saying communication, but even like what we said before in terms of intention and actually how it's landed, they're two different things. And people really get those things, or just they're not aware of both those things. Your intent can be good,
100%.
but how it lands cannot be good. And the two things can be true at the same time. So you can take accountability for both. You know, and that can solve a lot of problems.
Oh, 100%.
But a lot of people have the intention, and that is it. So if I am standing on this hill of intention, I don't care how it makes you feel, because you should know my intention was this. But it doesn't work. It
definitely does. And it took me a lot to learn something like that as well, about intention and also how it lands. And I think in a partnership is so important, because you've got to understand your partner. You've actually got to open communication just to understand your partner, because it's a partnership, so you've got to work together in order to make it successful. Again, building the bridge it's important. So I think your intention definitely can be good in your head, and how it lands can be taken another way. And if you're stubborn or being difficult in a situation where you're thinking, okay, you have to understand that I had good intentions, it's just going to be a conflict. That's where conflicts can occur. And I think, so with this dilemma, definitely open communication. Speak about it. Speak about around it. If you don't want to talk about that situation, as you're saying, create your rules, and that's gonna work for both of you, because it's a partnership. So
absolutely, I would say to be flexible with your thinking, because as I'm reading it, I keep on going back to the part where it says it has no impact on him, in terms of the keeping the secrets in a sense. But there is an impact.
100%,
so it's being flexible, again, intention and actually how it's landing. So being mindful of that. So again, what everyone's saying, have that communication, and also be aware of potentially what you're doing that's triggering 100%. Someone else. You know, so it goes both ways.
Like what I started to do now is I go back and review myself. So I go back and review myself and analyze what. So if I've got something to say or something, I need to go back and actually think about what I'm going to say, how this individual might take it. I need to make sure that I'm not just thinking about, as you're saying, the intent. So I think, definitely being flexible with the conversation, understanding that, triggers, there's so many things, as you were saying as well. I love this, my psychologist friends. Yeah, no.
What you've said is important. You're reflecting. You're looking at yourself introspectively, which I think that's what people struggle to do. She's saying that it has no impact on him, but it's about pausing and thinking, but could it?
Yeah.
That curiosity.
100%.
And then, could I have done something differently? How did I say it? How could it? That's reflection, right?
It's so important. You have to reflect. I think reflecting on yourself, self-awareness is key, because we do forget sometimes that it's two different people. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. It's two different people who have different emotions, different feelings. So it's just important.
And I think you said something good there, as Dr. Sheryl said, is the pause.
Yeah.
A lot of people are unable to pause. If you pause and maybe come back to that same thing that you're kind of getting hot about, 15 minutes, you'd be like, ooh, like you see it differently.
Yeah, 100%.
That's that awareness as well.
Yeah.
I love that. So guys, please, in terms of letters, we want more. Tell us what's going on. If you've done something about it, let us know. Dr. Sheryl, do you know our email?
Oh no!
Don't worry, I know. It's okay. Your face. So guys, if you want to send your letters in, it's at TLC@thenewblack.com, and the black is, the A is spelt with an X. Yeah, thenewblack.com. Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say, the A is a X instead of an A.
Instead of an A.
Yeah.
That's Dr. Amani's bit, man. Allow me. Listen, Godfrey, it's been an absolute pleasure.
It's been a pleasure to be here. 100%.
Having you here today. Continue doing what you're doing. Is there anything you want to plug, potentially?
Oh, something soon.
You've got LinkedIn?
Yeah, I got a LinkedIn.
Plug that, man. Opportunities.
My LinkedIn is Godfrey Poku. That's my LinkedIn. It's there. I'm posting.
Book guys, opportunities, anything as a lived experience educator, he does it all. Get at Godfrey. He can train your teams. Come on.
Yeah, come on. I appreciate that.
Come on. Right, guys, that is us over and out. So you're not going to say like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we're back next Friday, 7:15. Peace.
Bye.
I know it sounds like a quick thing, but I actually genuinely mean it. Like, you don't actually have to do this. And while we all hear really deep things all the time, and I don't take it for granted. Like, I think it's a really beautiful thing, if I'm being honest. We do need the community.
Am I allowed to have emotions like this?
Family.
How am I going to be viewed? The blackness. We're quicker to show anger than to show sadness.
I just don't think love by itself, for a romantic relationship and a life partner, someone you're doing life with and all they bring you is love.
That's also a good point. We don't know.